as I'm sitting there, like kind of yelling at him for hitting my quarterback, he kicks me in the stomach. And it wasn't really a kick. It was more like a shove. He gets ejected from the game.
Look, walking this like, hey, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey.
What's going on, guys? This is Justin Pugh. Welcome back to my show, Net Worth. We have a good one lined up for you this week. First off, I want to give a shout out to our 55 new subscribers this week. Welcome to the Net Worth family. We're currently at 370, getting closer to that goal of 500. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep doing everything. We're growing this thing organically. It's been great. It's been eye-opening. I love looking for the new subscribers. I'm going to keep putting out new content. As long as people are subscribing, we'll keep doing it every week. Let's jump right into it with the what's happening of the week. And also, quickly, if you guys won the shirts, look at last week's episode. I announced the winners. Go on, DM us your addresses. We'll get those shirts out. There's a few that we are missing. So we'll reach out to you guys to get that sent out. Now let's get to the what's happening of the week. First thing I want to talk about is, and someone brought this up. They're like, you grew up in Philadelphia. Why aren't you cheering for all the Philadelphia fans? Or you grew up in New York. Why don't you cheer for all the New York fans? And not just me in particular, but guys on every NFL team. So I wanted to ask you guys this question to kick this thing off. If you are a fan, let's say you're a Chicago Bears fan and you move to Arizona, there's a lot of Chicago folks in Arizona. Do you still cheer for the Bears, the Bulls, the Blackhawks, or do you start cheering for the Arizona fans? I am a firm believer, and you should be a fan in whatever city you are in because it makes the city, it makes the fans, it makes the culture, it makes the vibe more enjoyable. So for me personally, I'm cheering for all the New York teams. I always have. The New York Giants drafted me. All the New York Giants fans are fans typically, and I don't want to offend anybody, of like the Yankees, the Knicks, the Rangers. So I've always gone to those games. I've always supported those clubs. Just like when I was in Arizona, I would go to the Suns games. I would go to Coyotes games. I would go to Diamondbacks games. So I represented for the community. I feel like that's a huge part of it. What do you guys think? Should you be a fan of the city you live in? There's no, this is my number one team and this is my number two team. I get but if you were tough enough to stick it out in Green Bay in those cold winters and you left and you moved to California, you should be a fan of the California teams. Am I right or am I wrong on this one? Let me know. All right, let's get back into the business of sports. This one, kind of hit home and was a little sad to see, and it's about Earl Thomas. It seems like his ex-wife and her new boyfriend stole $1.9 million through identity fraud, and it said they were cashing NFL game checks. I don't know how Earl still had NFL game checks just laying around. Typically, those are direct deposited right into account, so I'm pretty sure that's not correct. But it does make sense that an ex-wife would have enough information to be able to steal money. It's tough for Earl. I mean, you make all that money. I saw that he made over $80 million in his career. For someone to steal $2 million, surprisingly, I think it could go unnoticed. If they did it slowly over time, which I'm sure they did, and why it took so long for this to come out. But you got to feel for a guy like that. It's someone taking advantage of a situation. I know there's been things that have gone on in the news with Earl Thomas and his wife. There was I think she put a gun on him at one point, catching him. I mean, there are some crazy things there. But regardless of any of that, I think they caught him. It just goes to show in this day and age, you're not going to get away with it. So I really am putting the spotlight on it. Don't try to steal from guys. Don't try to steal from anybody. I feel for you, Earl Thomas. He was one of the best safeties to play the game. I remember the Legion of Boom when they were in Seattle. He worked damn hard for that money. For someone to come in and try to steal it, I'm sure they're all going to end up in jail for a long time. Just sad to see. And it's not, I mean, you look at the Baker Mayfield situation. I think he's suing his father and his brother for trying to figure out some family members. I don't want to get it wrong. And obviously I haven't done enough research to know enough about it, but it's crazy when family and money get involved, how toxic it can be. So all my NFL guys out there, be very careful with what you do with your money and who you allow to have access to. And that goes for anybody in this, online world that we live in. You have to be very, very cognizant of what you do with your money. Next up, And this is a crazy business of football topic that, not many people touch on. It's the Josh Dobbs situation and talking with Jonathan Gannon from the Arizona Cardinals.
Listen to this. When I had my meeting with JG in Arizona, he looked at me in the face and he said, "You're not getting traded. You're not being released. You're going to be here in Arizona." I was like, okay, cool. And so then I woke up to that text saying, all right, the trade deadline's in 4 hours. You could be traded. You could go to Minnesota or go back to Cleveland. I was like, today's about to be nuts. So I pack a bag just in case.
Obviously, coming from the Arizona Cardinals, I met Coach Gannon in passing. Seemed like a great guy to me. I think, and in this whole story, Josh comes out and he says that he was lied to when the Cardinals were telling him they weren't going to trade him. They end up trading him to the Minnesota Vikings. I think if you look at football in general, I don't even know if Jonathan Gannon knew, and I don't know what his response was, but I don't even think he knew what the offers on the table were for Josh Dobbs. I mean, the GM is brand new. The head coach is brand new. The GM is there to make those personnel decisions. The coach is there to coach them up. So I'm sure Jonathan Gannon made him promises from what he thought was the facts. Things change at the drop of a hat. And Monty, the general manager for the Cardinals, definitely got a call. Was too good to pass up. They knew Kyler was coming back. They could get some value out of Dobbs, and they traded him. Now, Josh has been one of my favorite guys to highlight on this program, going over and going to Minnesota, making those changes, hearing the plays in his headphones and going out there and winning games. I think if anyone knows the business of football well this year, it's Josh Dobbs. But you never, from a player's perspective, want to hear a coach tell you one thing and then you get traded. So I definitely see why Josh thinks he was betrayed a little bit. But I also can see, I think Gannon he was a little naive in the fact that I don't think him and the GM are having those high-level conversations. So that's probably what happened there, just a little bit of a miscommunication. Josh, keep killing it in Minnesota. You're proving everybody wrong, man. We're definitely proud of you on the show here. Next up, a little bit more of a fun, lighthearted one. I got to give a shout-out to my guy Dion Dawkins from the Buffalo Bills. This isn't really a business of sport. It's just more of like, he's got all these tattoos. My man is massive. I mean, you watch him on film. He's a Pro Bowler. This dude kills it. He shows up with just straight tatted up, Buffalo winner, just rocking it, his stomach sitting out there. You got to give him a hats off. I know a lot of guys in the Buffalo Bill wear like jackets under their pads during practice. So for Dion Dawkins to show up, I think it was Monday Night Football, go out there shirtless, rocking the tats. I think he's done this a few times. Every time I see Dion Dawkins, he's at an event without his shirt on. So it's become his claim to fame. But as an offensive lineman from one to another, hilarious, man. Keep it up. And the last one that we are going to touch on today, and I really want to get your guys' reaction on it. We saw Trevon Diggs come out and speak on how he felt his brother was being handled with the Bills. He said verbatim, let me read it so I don't get it wrong. Let's not forget he didn't start going off until bro got there, obviously referring to his brother Stefon Diggs and referring to the quarterback Josh Allen. He wasn't playing as well until his brother got there. And then the other one that he mentioned was during the game last night, he tweeted out, man, 14 still got to get up out of there. So clearly we're saying things about his brother that Stefon, you've seen him on the field being frustrated. Do you guys think that it's inbounds or out of bounds for family to comment on it? I mean, Tyreek Hill came out and he supported it. Diggs standing on business today, and I love to see it. But is this actually hurting Stefon Diggs' chances of doing anything? He can't be traded at this point. He's got to ride out the season with the Bills. Is it going to make teams, and I've seen this throughout my past and seen it with other NFL players, if players come with baggage and they're great players, NFL teams typically overlook the baggage. But as soon as it starts becoming a circus where it's like, we have to deal with him being pissed off all the time, NFL teams start to look at that. Do you think that because there's no denying that Stefon Diggs is one of, if not the best receiver in the NFL. He's came out, he played unbelievable for the Vikings, played unbelievable for the Bills. But do people start to weigh how much of a headache it's going to be? Because now Stefon's going to have to answer questions about this all week. The team's going to have to answer questions about it all week. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing for the business of sport? I love that players get involved, that family members get involved and they support, but sometimes they got to write a check that the player then has to go cash. And I think that's where it starts getting troublesome because you don't want to create problems for Stefon Diggs and his teammates that are unnecessary. So let me know what you guys think and let's get some reactions on that one. All right, next up, we want to give a couple shout outs. Someone said, we don't have the name on here. We'll get that squared away. But we'll just do random questions here. What's the rest of your playing career look like, Justin? Need you for one more year in blue. I know you hit free agency after this year. Look, guys, I'm enjoying this year. Obviously, things aren't going exactly how we wanted to. But mind you, I signed up when we were 1-5 at the time. I knew the situation I was getting myself into. I'm here for the long haul. I love playing for the New York Giants. This is where I've always wanted to be. It's always where I wanted to end my career, and I'm enjoying it. I played, the last few games. My body's starting to finally get acclimated to it. I'm feeling good on a Monday after the game. So I think we'll wait and see. We'll get to the offseason and see where things shake out. Obviously interested in coming back. I love playing for the New York Giants. I love being here. I love being involved in the community. So we'll see where that one goes. Next question is, what's the favorite part about being a leader? Straight off the couch, LOL. It is fascinating. Happy for you, Pew. It's probably one of my favorite parts of playing in the NFL, being able to impact the guys in the locker room, being able to be helpful. But at the same time, I'm learning so much from all my teammates as well. So it's an ecosystem that I love being a part of. Next question, why do the Giants have so many injuries? I hate that for this team. The NFL is a injury-laden business. If you play in the NFL, you are 100% certain to get injuries. It's just super unfortunate this year. We've been struck with the injury bug. But if you look at every team, they're dealing with injuries. We just got to keep fighting through them, keep getting guys healthy, and keep going out there and competing in all the games. Because at this point, with all the injuries, there's opportunity. And the opportunity is for the young guys to step up and show they can play at this level. So there are good things and bad things at it. And obviously with where our record's at, we have to keep going. We have to keep fighting. We have to fight through those injuries, and young guys have to step up, and they have a chance to really make a name for themselves. I'm going to keep responding to these. Send questions, send concerns, send any of the pictures you guys have out there rocking the straight off the couch shirts. We love to see it. Next up, the Pughny Badger of the Week. I know you guys are super excited. Who's going to win the Pughny Badger of the Week? It's an easy one. It's another shout out to a former teammate of mine, Kyler Murray, going out there, coming off ACL. He's about a year removed. Me, him, Zach Ertz all had ACL injuries last year at the Cardinals. And Kyler coming back out there and finding a way to get the Cardinals a win. He's an electric player. He scrambled around doing a prototypical Kyler Murray drive to win the game at the end with that crazy scramble. And I felt like I was back watching it, cheering for those guys. I'm happy for the Cardinals. I'm happy they're back there and Kyler's healthy, leading the team to victory. Shout out to UK1. Keep doing your thing, man. All right, now let's jump into the Giant Cowboy reaction. Obviously, this week was one of the tougher games. It wasn't competitive. These last 2 weeks, we've really not done our jobs, which is sad to see. Obviously, starting with the offensive line, starting with myself, I have to be better. We have to continue to get better. But like I said earlier in the podcast, the sun came up today. We're moving on to the next week. We have to find a way to get a win. No one's going to feel bad for us. No one cares that we're dealing with injuries. Every team deals with them. So we have to go out there and fight. And we're fighting for our jobs. We know that if we don't win games, we won't have a job. There is no more pressure than that. So we're going to go out there. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep getting after it. And I ask of you fans, we're New Yorkers. We've been through worse. We've been through the ups and downs. How many franchises wish they could put themselves into the New York Giants' shoes? 4 Super Bowl rings, being competitive. Obviously, we're not where we need to be this year, and things are going to change. And that's something that we have to look in the mirror and face. We're all grown men in this situation. And that's the reality that we face ourselves in. We're going to Washington this week, a team that we beat a few weeks ago. Their offense is looking great. Sam Howell, the quarterback, is putting up great numbers. They still have 2 unbelievable inside defensive tackles. They've traded the outside guys. They're in turmoil as well. So it's really going to come out who comes out hungrier in the game, who wants it more, who's going to go fight for it. And it's up to us as Giants players to represent this organization, go out there and fight and put a product on the field that we're proud of. And that's all I can say. We're going to go out there and we're going to battle, and we got to find a way to win this next game because it's the next game. Our jobs are on the line. We're fighting for the fans. Keep supporting us. And you guys have. Obviously, The one thing I didn't mention from the previous game, there's a little scuffle with me and one of the Dallas Cowboys D tackles, and the fans have been super supportive on both sides. I'm actually seeing the Cowboys fans calling me out and the Giants fans supporting me, but that's what makes this game great. And I'm going to say a few things about the incident, and then we'll put it to bed. I talked about it post-game. So the play, if you actually break the play down, Neville Gallimore, he was trying to get lined up, and 92 Armstrong was playing defensive end. All of a sudden, they switch positions, and normally you don't see a big D tackle out on the edge. So I'm setting thinking that they're going to run some kind of twist game because the Cowboys always run a lot of games and never really take on blocks one-on-one. They're always moving because they try to get Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence one-on-one. So I'm thinking they're getting ready to run a game because why would you have this slower compared to like Micah Parsons D tackle out on the edge versus one of the premier pass rushers. So I set kind of inside thinking they're going to run a game. I guess they were just wrong in whatever front they called. So he runs around the edge and he actually edges me, which wasn't good on my part. Like I did a crappy job getting beat there. And Tommy DeVito gets rid of the ball. He's throwing it. Clearly, I'm running from behind all of this. I have a first row seat, and he still hits him low. So obviously, when someone hits a quarterback low, I'm going to defend my quarterback 10 times out of 10. They're both laying on the ground, and I shove him when he's on the ground. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you hit him? See that he's getting a personal foul penalty. I didn't see any of that at the time. And as I'm sitting there, like, kind of yelling at him for hitting my quarterback, he kicks me in the stomach. And it wasn't really a kick. It was more like a shove. He gets ejected from the game. Obviously, you can't kick somebody on national TV, but I also feel bad at the same time. Like, I definitely played my part in that. I instigated it. So NFL, if you're out there trying to find my guy, obviously the late hit is something that is going to be looked at separately. But for the kick, and I know that I feel bad that he's going to have that fine, the FedEx coming in the mail. But it's the nature of the business. I mean, I'm an instigator. It's kind of how I pride myself in playing. I'm always going to defend my teammate. I do feel bad that he's going to lose some money on the deal. But the thing is, you look at the clip, he also isn't wearing the proper socks. Then he hits the quarterback. So he's going to have 3 fines in one. Only one really is my fault. So I feel bad about that one, but not wearing the right socks and hitting the quarterback low. Like, come on, man. You got to be better than that. He definitely does not deserve suspension, anything like that. It wasn't a malicious play. He was just, look, if I push somebody that's only on the ground, he's got to get up. So it's kind of like, I see both sides of it. I was wrong. He was wrong. I've gotten in so many fights with defensive linemen throughout the year and arguments through practice. So I feel bad about the whole situation. Neville, I hope all works out. You Cowboys have a great team, great defensive line. So you guys will keep getting after it. All right. So that's that. We're done with it. We're moving on. We're moving on to the Commanders. Looking forward to this week. Giants fans, keep sticking with us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Like I mentioned, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers. We only need about 100 more to get there. So tell a friend to tell a friend. That also means you guys have to follow us on all the social media platforms at Networth Show. Let's do that. Let's link up, send comments, send questions, reply to some of those shorts that we talked about. And just remember to be nice to each other, man. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Tell a friend to check out the show. We will see you then. Take care.
I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour. Got scheming. Say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him.